Hello beautiful people and welcome to the channel Life After Narc. My name's Debbie and I talk about all things to do with narcissistic, abusive and toxic relationships, as well as looking at healing from them. And today's video, the narcissist will try to control you long after the relationship has ended. And they do. And this goes for whether you left the narcissist or the narcissist left you. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail, but before I do, if you enjoy the video, please click the like button. Please subscribe to the channel and share with your friends, family, anybody who you think may benefit. So what do I mean by the narcissist will still try to control you after the relationship's over? Whether you've left the narcissist or they left you, they still want to exert control over you. After all, they've been manipulating you for 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years, however long, and you are their supply. So we need to remember that word, supply. What is supply? It is the joy and happiness you give the narcissist when they do something horrible to you. And that makes you hurt, upset, cry, become angry, etc. That is how twisted the narcissist is. They love being happy from your pain. So I'm going to look at children first. If you are in a relationship where you have children or were in a relationship where you had children, they will use the children as pawns. So basically they will, perhaps throughout the divorce proceeding and who's going to have custody of the children, perhaps they will make it as difficult as possible, saying they want custody, and it goes through the courts, and this can happen over a long period of time. Perhaps the partner was taking drugs and drug tests needs to be done. Perhaps the partner was abusing the children. It may mean that the narcissistic partner only gets access once a week or once every 2 weeks. And this may have to be in controlled situations where other people are present. And this pain that you will feel through this, if you've got children, is for your children and the damage that is happening to them. And my heart does go out to you for this. And I really admire anybody who is able to survive through this and keep their children happy, because the children will feel this pain and it will cause specific damage to them. And you may want to enlist children's services, social services, perhaps even look at getting therapy for the children to make sure that this does not hamper their growth in life. Now, if the narcissist left you, this is where the control comes in big time. They love to still control everything. When they left you, they wanted to control the date that they collected their things. They wanted to control how they collected their things. They only wanted to take specific items and not all of their things. They may have made other sorts of issues for you as well, perhaps via social media, through flying monkeys or other forms of triangulation or enablers. And what this means is that they will enlist other people in their lives, friends, family, to try to make your life as miserable as possible and as painful as possible. And this is what the narcissist does. They live and feed off of that supply. Now, don't forget that the narcissist was with you for X amount of time and they mirrored you from the beginning. In other words, they know what makes you tick. So if you are an emotional, empathic person, such as myself, they will know that certain things will make you cry, will give you upset, and possibly a lot of rumination. And they may enlist, as I say, enablers or other flying monkeys to help them with this by perhaps reminding you of certain dates or days that were important to you through the relationship. It could be your birthday, it could be your anniversary, it could be a funeral date, it could perhaps be the date of a child's birth or the date of a miscarriage. But they will try any way they can to make this as painful for you as they can. Whether they see you or not, it doesn't matter. They know in their minds that you will be suffering. So let's say, for example, it's your birthday and you get a message from somebody and you have a look at the message and it's from an enabler or a flying monkey of the narcissist saying all sorts of horrible things about you. And this is going to upset you and it's going to cause you to ruminate more over that relationship and over what happened in the past of that relationship. So it's unsettling you and it may lead you to doing acts or things that you wouldn't normally do, perhaps self-harm or even worse, looking at suicidal tendencies. So for these days and these times, you may want to enlist your friends and family to help you through them as well, because they will make it as difficult as possible for you, whether they're with you or not. And the rumination that happens in your brain is incredibly difficult to switch off. I know that, especially when you are trauma bonded to this person. And trauma bond is basically what you go through in the relationship with that partner. So you go through a certain amount of trauma and they hurt you, for example, and then they pick you up again and say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. I love you. I won't do it again. And a week later, they do the same thing, but you know that they're going to apologize because they've done that before. So they apologize and everything's okay again for a while until it's not. That is the trauma bond. And I'll link a video below in the description about trauma bonds so you can have a look at it a little bit closely. But they know that these dates are significant to you. And if you had a habit of patterns, perhaps things that you did, they know that they will trigger you on these days. So, for example, for me, recently, it was our wedding anniversary. And this was incredibly important to me because I fully believed in the vows that I took. And my ex-partner would know this, knowing that I am a spiritual person. I am, in fact, a registered minister. I'm a reverend. And they know that these things are going to hurt you. And so they will enlist their flying monkeys or enablers. Now, these people may not even know that they're being enlisted. And believe me, they don't. They just think that they are innocent in this whole thing, that they're just trying to be on the side of the narcissist because they believe that you are the crazy ex. And these things, perhaps it's a message that you receive or a card or a phone call, something that you receive that makes you, or elicits a state in you of distress, of upset, of hurt, of pain. And it may be that you feel like this for a few hours or the day. Make sure you get your friends involved and help and support whichever way you can. And this is why it's so important right back at the beginning of the end of the relationship to delete and remove all flying monkeys, enablers, friends of the narcissist from your social circle and from your life, because the narcissist is a con man. They have charm and they work this charm with their friends. Their friends believe them, even though you are the one that was hurt, that was damaged in some way, abused in some way, whether that was physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, it doesn't matter. It's all abuse. So no matter how you were abused, they will try to elicit that response. And you know through your rumination what you go through. You go through the, I miss them, I want them back in my life, I know that we can sort things out, to, I hate them, I can't believe that I stayed in that relationship for so long, how do I start my life again, and so on. So you have these two sides of you that are trying to balance each other out. And this will cause massive rumination for you on those days. This is where I suggest to you, pick up that list that you wrote all the way back at the beginning when they left, of all the nasty, horrible things they did to you. Read through that list. Speak to friends, message friends, speak to family if you can. But do something positive for you. And remember, this is not your fault. You are not to blame. The narcissist will probably still try to do these things 10 years down the line, especially if they're not getting the supply that they want from their current partner or friend or whoever it is that they are getting supply from. And what's amazing is that I think through all of this is that there is this, if you're still stuck in that trauma bond, which I am, you are feeding them with every thought you have of them. And it's incredibly difficult to stop this. It really is. It takes what we call radical acceptance. In other words, just radically accepting that this person is now gone from your life. Easier said than done, I know. And long into your future without the narcissist, they will still try and control you. Whether it be going to parties and you happen to bump into them, or you're walking through town and you bump into them or see them, they will try to make out that they are better than you, that they know better than you, and that you are worthless to them. And it will hurt, and I know it will. You have to stay strong and put all of your tactics and your therapy into place to try and get through this. I know one specific day for me as well that is incredibly difficult. My father's funeral, I had asked my ex-partner that if he was going to leave me, to not sit next to me at the funeral. He sat next to me at the funeral and then left me a few days later while I was still with my family, helping my mom get over her grief. So now I have that memory constantly of him sitting next to me, holding my hand with his fake tears and his fake grief and his fake concern for me. That will always be in my head every time, every anniversary of my father's death, of my father's funeral. And I just have to remember that my father would not have spoken to him if he'd have done that in life. So you need to protect yourself. You need to put a massive circle of protection around you, whether that's with friends, with your church or spiritual, or your therapist, friends, family, whomever you can, to get through those days that are going to be difficult for you. But know that that narc is going to pop their head up at some stage in the future, and they are going to try and hurt you. So if you have enjoyed the video, please click the like button. Please subscribe to the channel and share with your friends, family, anybody who you think may benefit. I hope to see you next time. Blessed be.